is up? Welcome into Attacking Third Decision Day NWSL recap show. It's brought to you by CarMax, Wanna Drive, alongside Sandra Herrera and McCall Zerboni. I'm Lisa Carlin. Take a deep breath. The playoff bracket is set. And guys, Racing Louisville finally did it. Spoiler alert, they did it. They made it into their first ever postseason. It only took them 4 seasons of finishing 9th, but they made it. We are talking NWSL Decision Day, Week 26, the biggest takeaways, our playoff preview, and of course, our weekly Best 11. McCall, you were on the call for one of these games during Decision Day. Have you taken a deep breath, my friend? Are you good?
I mean, I had Orlando, Seattle, but honestly, you guys, this Decision Day was never going to disappoint. I mean, come on. Like, that is just good stuff. And then obviously, Louisville was always going to win the moment. If they won their game, it was always going to be about them today. And I think everyone is like low-key happy for them.
I think so too. Everyone is like, oh my gosh, they finally did it. It got a little nervy there at the end of that game against Bay. We will talk all about it. I was also on the call for that Louisville game, Louisville against Bay. So Sandra, my girl, you were watching Decision Day as a spectator to some extent, a fan, if you will. How did you take it all in?
Multiple devices, honestly. Like had a game up on the TV, and then also had to get the multi-view. But that was also very tough because like I wanted to try and hear like McCall and what she had to say on this agonizing Orlando and Seattle game, or like somehow try to figure out how to, get a global feed for you, Lisa, and hear you. But it was chaotic, honestly. It was everything that you wanted NWSL to be. And I'm not gonna come on here and lie to the people. It was difficult. Every once in a while you're like switching out games on that multi-view. It's a cool setup. I'm thankful to NWSL Plus for having it. But I also, this is where I guess we thank Portland Thorns for like taking care of business pretty early on, because it was like, okay, thanks y'all, because I'm definitely gonna try to focus elsewhere around here. So it was interesting, I think, having a year off from Decision Day and then to have it back. I think we all felt kind of a little rusty at times.
Yeah, but the players didn't look rusty. It was like chaos, standings, movement, and there was a lot on the line heading into this day. It was either Louisville or North Carolina that was going to snag that last spot, and then the standings from 3rd through 8th were all up for grabs, and it took until the very last seconds of these games for things to shake out. As it turns out, Orlando drawing with Seattle, McCall, that was your match that you were on, means that Orlando, the reigning champs, the reigning Shield winners, they clinch a home playoff spot, which is huge for that team.
The sauciest part is that they play each other again. I mean, we spoke with Laura Harvey before, and we said in the event that this happens, right, we're kind of running through all the scenarios. What would you do? And they're just going to stay. I mean, there's no point for them to fly all the way home and all the way back. So they're just going to make Orlando their home and train there and get as much rest as possible. So, I mean, it's just small things like that people don't think about. And, what was making my head spin was all the variables before. And also, I don't know if everyone knows all the tiebreaker things, right? Like, it goes all the way down to yellow cards in the end, because it's actually goal differential first, and then amount of wins, and then head-to-head goals scored. So there's just so many things that could have happened, especially I think this has been the tightest the table has been in the whole NWSL history, which was so exciting that you had to follow along week in and week out.
It makes it so exciting, though. It is so crazy. We will get to the playoff picture and look ahead to all of that in this show, because Orlando, Seattle, they played today and they will play again in the quarterfinals. But before we get to that, let's talk the biggest storyline is that Racing Louisville finally make the playoffs. They finished 4th. They finished for 4 straight years in 9th place, but progressively got better every single year. More points, more wins, more goals scored. And this year they broke records for wins, points, goals that they had, road wins. And finally, they punched their ticket. A goal from Ella Haas just in the opening 5 minutes of the second half takes down Bay FC for the first ever time that Racing Louisville has scored against Bay and then beaten them. And now Bev Yanez becomes the first American woman head coach in the playoffs since 2013, and the first to qualify for the postseason in the NWSL as both player and coach. Sandra, it is history after history after history being made for Racing Louisville, and they don't make it easy on themselves. They were nerving me out at the end of that game.
They don't make it easy on themselves. They don't make it easy on us or casuals who are watching and tapping in. I'm thrilled for Bev Yanez. I'm thrilled for this racing squad. It's been a long time coming. This is a franchise that has had to really kind of do some soul searching and dig deep and kind of figure out themselves and who they are and who they want to be. And I think you really have to take a look at some of those hirings that have taken place over the year. I mean, elevating and promoting Bev Yanez to head coach and that point, I think it's really kind of the start of that. You know, this is a team that has never really had a sniff at playoffs. I think the joke has been that they've finished 9th every single season of their existence. And really, it's only until last year where it was kind of celebrated. And that's only because the playoff format expanded. No one was celebrating getting 9th place in 2021, because if you were in 9th place in 2021, you were definitely not sniffing the playoffs at all, because the playoffs weren't expanded to 8, but they are now. And so last year there was a little bit of that teasing and flirting a little bit with that playoff line, and you can maybe sort of see the beginning of what could potentially be for this squad. And so to sort of see them kind of manifest this into existence, because it hasn't all been pretty throughout this season. It's not just today's decision day match. It's really been that way for them throughout the duration of 2025. And I know we've referred to them, or at least I've referred to them on this team, as kind of bullying their way into the playoffs. And I think they have done exactly that. And I hope we continue to get to see them do it. I do not think they are that absolute team that you don't want to go up against right now. You don't want to get through your playoffs having been pummeled. And if you have round 1 against Racing, that's not going to be easy.
No, absolutely not. As it shakes out for Racing Louisville, they don't even finish in 8th. They bump themselves up to 7th. So they'll take on number 2 Washington Spirit. But the way that Bev Yanez has galvanized this group this year, and she talked about leading up to this game about how this group was different, and how that from the preseason, from the jump, they felt like a different group that was really bought into the system. I had the pleasure of speaking to Emma Sears as well prior to this match, and she talked about that, and she echoed it. The fact that this team was uniquely in this position, exactly where they wanted to be, to control their own destiny, to get into the postseason and into playoffs, and all they had to do was win. Now, easier said than done, and it was nerve-wracking towards the end of that game, conceding set pieces at the top of the box where a really good chance for Bay to score a goal. And for Racing Louisville, they've dropped a lot of points from leading positions throughout this year. But the fact that they were able to close out the game and get the win, to me, says that they're going to be a force in the postseason, and that this is a group that, come the quarterfinals and next weekend, I would be a little scared to play them. Bev Yanez talked about adaptable, and that was a word that her group really used this year to buy into, a phrase that she didn't realize was going to have such a big impact on the group, but they were able to weather different storms. I mean, even in that first 45 minutes, it probably should have been a couple goals to Louisville, and it wasn't. It was still scoreless, but they adapted in the second half. They figured it out. They fought, and they were able to come out on the other side. And for Ella Haas, first professional goal in that type of game, and the pressure, the weight of this match being on her shoulders and the team's shoulders, knowing that they just needed a win to get into the postseason, and they're able to get it done. And they do. It was huge for Racing Louisville. I loved this for them. And it has been a long time coming for them to get into the postseason. But if Racing Louisville clinches that final spot, which they did, that means that North Carolina is out. A team that was fighting with them to get into the postseason. They led over Gotham 2-0 during this game, and they end up winning 3-2. But this was a battle between the Courage and Gotham, and ultimately North Carolina falls short. But McCall, if you think about the season for North Carolina, because they don't make the postseason and they really couldn't control it on this final decision day, is this season considered a failure for them?
Well, I think the story of the North Carolina Courage for all season was they were right there, but they were never there. And I think that they just didn't reach that level that they are capable of, that they've done in the past, in the history. And they were flirting with Wright there all season long, but they had inconsistent performances. Just when you felt like they were starting to hit a stride or hit a peak, then they went back down. And so they just didn't get there. And so the fact that they didn't make it there in the playoffs is a perfect depiction of their season this year. And I think that they have, great players and they've gone through some changes as well. They've had to endure some off and on the field things that have been challenging for them, but there's some bright spots as well, like a Manaka. I mean, what a wonderful pickup for them. She, same thing, was just about to hit her stride, and we're just seeing the best of her, but just didn't make it there in time. So that's why they wound up at number 9.
It's almost so heartbreaking to win and do it in such dramatic fashion. It was pouring rain in Cary, North Carolina as well. They get the win, Sandra, but they fall and they end their season like that. Bitter taste, or are they proud with how they played?
I think it's a mix of both, but because I love chaos and I love a story arc, I hope it leaves a bitter taste for them, because I want to see that response next year. I want to see a full season. A full MVP caliber season from Manaka. I think if there was, if we had a 1/2 MVP award to give, then yeah, I think you take a look at Manaka and you give that to her. And there's no doubt that whenever she found success on that pitch, that the Courage were successful in their games, and that is what makes an MVP caliber player. But I hope it is a healthy mix of both for them, because it was not easy for the Courage. They had to go through, I said Racing had to go through some soul searching. I think there was really some of that for this team as well. I mean, having to go through coaching changes, having to really take all season to sort of try to figure out their ideal personnel and who and what and how that could look like. And it's not easy to do that when you're managing, a varying number of injuries along the way. But I think this was also a game that was very representative of who they are, who they could have been throughout stretches of the season. I mean, they came out with absolutely the right amount of tempo and energy to start this game. They find themselves at one point leading this game 3-0, and it ends 3-2. And it's just and there's the Courage. They found a way to get this win and end off on a high note. And so I hope we see more from this on a more consistent basis in 2026, because if we do, we're talking about them in the playoffs. We're not talking about them missing out.
But then you also play the game where you remove their best player. I think Manaka has been the MVP of the Courage, right? And if you remove them, who are they without her? They wouldn't even have been close to the playoff line. So for me, yes, Manaka is a bright spot. And don't forget, she's only 21 years old. She still has so much growing to do. So at this point, if you're the Courage, you just pray that she enjoyed playing in the NWSL and that she wants to come back, because she's so important to your team. And you can see the bright spot that she brings and her potential. I mean, I think she could be a future MVP in this league if they continue to have her enjoy her football and want to stay at the Courage. And that's why where you finish matters. And mark my words, yes, teams that did not make the playoffs, but Utah showing brighter things at the end, making themselves an attractive club, because where you finish and what you do is basically a yes or no if players want to go to your club. And if you're showing bad signs and not a promising future, you're not going to be able to attract players. You're not going to be able to keep the players that you have. And so it is massive and very important where you finish, even if it's not in the top 8.
Well, you know what team looks pretty appetizing to go to play for, to cheer for, is the team in purple that got it done tonight, Racing Louisville. And we are so pleased to welcome in Captain Arin Wright. Arin, congratulations. You're going to the postseason.
Thank you so much. Our group is so excited. We said that this was a mountain that this club has been trying to climb since its inception, and we just summited it. So we're super stoked.
Absolutely true. You guys have had so many challenges on and off the pitch this season. Talk about how you guys have just overcome that and achieved the biggest thing in your club history.
Yeah, I think you saw the beginning of the season. We came out. We found our identity. We knew who we were. We were bought into it, right? And every team has their slump throughout the season. We had that slump, right? We kept getting scored on in the 90th minute of games, and it was just so defeating in game after game. But I think it just really is a testament to this group and the individuals here and the resilience that they have as players to go through that spell of games. And then at the back end of the season, pull through and have the games that we have and finish the way that we did, with still within that identity that we had on the front end of the season. I think being here in Louisville and this community, this club, these players, we're bought in. We love it here. And I think it's showing in our play.
Arin Wright, back to the playoffs. It's not a postseason if Arin Wright's not in it, in my opinion. You are one of the more experienced and veteran players on this roster, and then you've been a face and voice of leadership. This is a new ball game. You can speak to that better than anyone. The NWSL postseason is so special. It's its own version of a season. What is going to be your messaging to your locker room, to your teammates, to make sure that they stay locked in this new journey in front of them?
Yeah, I think this group, they are so deserving of this playoff push and to be in the playoffs for the first time. And I'm so excited for them to get to experience what it's like, because there is truly nothing like it to make it to those games. And just the type of player that you become being in that type of pressure and that type of environment the following season, it just boosts your confidence. So I think the messaging is going to be very similar to what I gave them in the middle of the season when we started to lose those few games in a row and losing those points at the very end of games. We had the 5 games left in the season. I told them, listen, this is a 5-game series. We take it game for game. And that's exactly what we did. And we got the points. And so I think going into playoffs, that's exactly how we're going to focus. It's going to be game for game. And you focus on the here and now and be present in that moment and stick to who we are. Don't worry about the outside noise. Don't watch the table. Don't do any of that. And that's how you get the results.
It was a gritty game that you guys had to fight through against Bay to get this win. What are you most proud of about this group?
I just think I'm proud of, you watch players come in off the bench, right? And our play doesn't drop. We've been talking since day one about how we needed a team to be player 1 through player 26. Your level doesn't drop. Your style of play doesn't change no matter who goes on the field. It doesn't matter if a center back, if I go out to left back, or if I fall up to outside winger, or if our center mid Taylor's dropping back to a center back. Everyone knows the positions on the field and knows how to play them in our style of play. And I think that is just a testament of what Bev has created here and how she's developed the players and made them really just trust that they know what they're doing on the field. And I think it's just a testament to the locker room that we've created and the trust that there is between these girls here.
I'm so glad that you mentioned Bev, because that was going to be my next question for you is, can you share a little bit about what it's like playing for her? And obviously she's made history tonight as well. And, being the captain, you have to be in close contact and communication with the head coach. So what is that like for you working for her and helping her lead the team with you?
Yeah, I'm so proud of Bev. Obviously, I think both of you and I have played with her in the league, and to watch her now become a coach and watch all of these young women idolize her and just really listen and lean on her and let her lead this group to what it has now become. Such a special thing as a player to watch. And I'm so excited for her. If you go back and watch the end of the game, there's not a player that was more excited than Bev was. That was so blue. We all were watching it back and we were just dying laughing. She's the heart and soul of this team. She cares more than any person. And she just truly cares about us as individuals, and we feel that. And so I'm so happy that we could bring home a playoff spot for her.
This is turning into the Bev-ness segment, because I've got to follow on that. You mentioned right there playing against her at one point and being colleagues in this league as players, but now you're being coached by her, and she's not too far removed from playing herself against you even at times. What have been some things that she's maybe added to your game specifically that have sort of maybe lifted you up throughout the duration of this season?
Honestly, I think she's taught me to be a better leader. She's very meticulous in her thought process, right? And she wants to get the best out of people mentally. And I'm a very literal person at times, and I sometimes think I speak before I think, and I think she has really taught me to slow down and kind of think through things in a way that I never have, and she does, and I get to listen to her thought process. And I think it's really helped me lead the group and just be a better captain all around.
Arin, congratulations. What an awesome win. And now you guys get to go into the playoffs. You have celebrations to get to. What are they going to look like tonight?
I mean, I don't know. We've got a game coming up on the weekend. So, I mean, we'll celebrate a little bit, but we've got big things to do next weekend. So we'll see.
Spoken like a true pro. You're like, we celebrate and then we get right back out there. So who's on the aux court for all these celebrations?
Ooh, I mean, we've got really good aux people. There's Blooms is on it. Sometimes Katie Lund is on it. Janine, she can come in hot sometimes. I mean, we've got a plethora of aux girls.
Well, no wonder y'all are finding success. You got the motivation behind you.
Exactly.
Arin, we are live on YouTube and the chat is going crazy. They're saying congratulations, go big perp, all the fun things for this group. They are excited to cheer you on. We are so happy for this group, for Bev and for you. Congratulations and good luck in the postseason.
Thank you, guys.
What an awesome accomplishment for this team, for this group. I mean, for Arin Wright as well. How cool for her.
It's
they
awesome.
Are beaming. You can just tell. Like, they are so psyched. And like we said, they etched their name in history. They're the first ones to ever do it.
Yeah, I just hope they ride this momentum as long as they can. Because at this point, that's what it's all about. I love that she got to speak from an experience standpoint. She has been so often a staple, a presence in those NWSL playoffs, and she's had to work to get back with Racing Louisville to get there. So it's really special to see.
It is.
If I could
so
say
special.
one thing about Racing, though, it doesn't matter their opponent; they're always fearless, and
always.
So. You know, I'm not concerned that they're going to be able to carry this momentum or not. They just go in there, hunt in packs, fight like dogs, and they just meet whatever competition is in front of them. So I'm really excited to watch their next match.
Racing Louisville. Next match will be in the quarterfinals of the NWSL playoffs. They will take on Washington Spirit, number 2 seed at Audi Field in Washington. All right, that does it. Our first segment here on A3. Don't go anywhere. We're previewing the NWSL playoffs next. Stick with us.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. So even if you can't count on accurate expiration dates,
that is a rookie mistake,
or people appreciating your fashion sense,
Jim, the crowd is not on board here.
you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
Glad we wear our good jerseys.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third. Now, Racing Louisville, they have clinched a postseason spot, but there was a lot of other movement throughout this decision day in the NWSL. We finally have our playoff preview. The picture is absolutely set, and a big seeding game came down to Orlando, Seattle, because these teams were fighting for a playoff position to host who was going to make it into that number 4 spot, McCall, and it ends up being a 1-1 draw between these two. Orlando, they rise ahead of Seattle in the standings, so they will play at home, taking on Seattle. But when we think about this decision day game, McCall, what were some of the things that you took from it watching Orlando, Seattle?
I mean, a huge thing that stood out for me was the game changers. The substitutes for me were the standouts. They came on. They made an impression. They changed the game. They actually created some stuff in the attack, whereas Seattle had a very, very quiet first half. I mean, I was actually shocked that they made it out 0-0 at halftime because they were under a lot of pressure. They weren't able to exercise their wingbacks getting high up the pitch. They were so low on the field. They were enduring so much pressure in their defensive third. And then they made some substitutions at halftime. Jordan Heidema came on. I thought she was great. Mondesir came on. I thought she was great. And, you know, for both teams, honestly, for the Pride and the Seattle Reign, their game changers, their substitutes were absolutely that.
Yeah, it came down to like who was going to bring the spark, and maybe with how it went in the first 45, maybe it shouldn't have been that surprising or shocking that the goals came as late as they did. But we eventually got a couple, but it ended up in this stalemate. And we're going to get basically a sequel of it, you know, in about a week or so. Mm-hmm. But I had this one on my radar, not because I was like looking for particular fireworks or anything like that. Like, these are two teams that have kind of struggled in front of goal and have found themselves still sort of figuring it out in the final third, even as the playoffs are about a week away at this point. But just what it could imply for that first round of playoffs, and now we know it's going to be that repeat matchup, and everything that the Rain and Laura Harvey were coming off of into this game, all the discussion of a funny podcast, the conversation that she had with ChatGPT, and what is she going to roll out, and is she still going to roll out the 5-back? And I kind of loved that it was still the 5-back, because like that is who they have been this year. I love that they didn't shy away of what has kind of become who they are, and it's their staple of play. And even though maybe it feels kind of like unpredictable, like those are the things that work out for teams a lot of time in the postseason. And so I do think it's very, very funny, a lot of the reaction that she's gotten for that. But at the end of the day, you need your players to go out there and absorb it. You need them to execute it, and they're doing that. And I would almost venture to say that alongside like Louisville, like Seattle's going to be one of those very, very frustrating teams to play if they get deeper and deeper into the playoffs.
Well, we will get to see Orlando, Seattle in the quarterfinals. McCall, if you could pick one thing for each team that they're going to work on this week heading into that playoff game against each other, what would it be?
So here's the question and the answer, because it's incredibly difficult to play the same team back to back, right? So that opponent basically just felt you out, studied you. But the beneficial part about it is what I said. The game changers, the substitutes are what made a difference. So now it's the question, if you're Laura Harvey and you're Seb Hines, now do I need to select different players to start? And so this is the old age question. Did I make a mistake and now I fix it? Or do I go out with what I had because it was neck and neck? So it's going to be really interesting to see who's in that starting 11, because it did go better in the second half for both teams when those substitutes came on. So, I mean, I think for me, obviously in the first half, the Seattle, yes, it's a good idea to play a 5-back, but only if your wingbacks don't get stuck. You have to build out in a 3 when you have the ball, and almost make those outside in the 5 become midfielders. But they were so pinned so low that they couldn't get anything in the attack, and they were just taking waves and waves and troves against them. So it's okay if they do that again.
Exhausting. It's exhausting to play like that.
That's why they're staying. They're going to just stay there and hang out in Orlando.
Right. But then now you go into extra time. Mm-hmm. Now you go into pens. So you cannot play that game the same way, because you're going to have to put in some more energy on those legs, and those substitutes are going to have more work to do. So it's a completely different ball game within the same competitor. So it's like, what do you change? What do you keep the same? And that's what's going to be so exciting about that matchup.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Another one that was pretty intriguing to watch today on Decision Day was Portland Thorns against Houston Dash. It ends with the Thorns taking down Houston 2-0 in this game, which means Portland Thorns, they finished third in the standings. A bit surprising, Sandra, considering when we go back to March, before the season started, it was like, okay, no Morgan Weaver, no Sophia Wilson. What's going to happen? They lost to Gita a few weeks ago in a trade to Angel City. Yet Portland's able to get it done, and they finished top 3.
They find the answer, right? They find the way. I love that it's sort of been like star player by committee for them this season, because those were the biggest questions, and that's why many out there did not think that they were going to be this high. That maybe they had enough to crack a postseason appearance, but a top 3. Portland said, we got enough. And when you have that kind of shakeup, maybe midseason, maybe you're like, that adds a jolt. Losing Hina Sugita maybe kind of forced some decisions to be made, because I think that was the conversation, like, what is going to be the best midfield personnel for this team moving forward, and what is that going to look like when they're all healthy? Because there was sort of this plug in and play moments with Olivia Moultrie kind of working her way back from some things, or even Jessie Fleming at moments, and for a long time it really was just consistently Sam Coffey. So for them to kind of just go out and do what they did this season with a player almost week to week wearing that crown of star player, I think it's very impressive. And you can go back and look at each week and maybe kind of pluck out who that X factor type of player was going to be. Was it Sam? Mm-hmm. Some weeks it was Sam Coffey. Some more recent weeks it's been Olivia Moultrie. Mid-season, a lot of times Raylan Turner or Raina Reyes, and it's like Petra Torden. It's like you can go down and like pluck a bunch of, and so something very cool has happened along the way for this Thorns team, where it's like not only did they answer those questions in the beginning of the season about who it was going to be and who it was going to step up, now they're going into the playoffs saying, well, it can really just be anybody.
Yeah, I think this was a silent killer team in Portland Thorns this year because they did have, I like how you said that, stars by committee. It was different people and different players stepping up week over week, and also sometimes unassuming players, right? I think Olivia Moultrie had a lot of pressure on her, and without some heavy hitters in front of her to score goals, I mean, I'm looking at Sophia Wilson. She stepped up and she rose to the occasion at now 20 years old. It was a good year for Olivia Moultrie, and I am happy for them to be in third, to make it into the postseason. So Portland Thorns, they take down Houston on a 2-0 win. So they finish third in the standings. So that means they will host against San Diego Wave. So third will host sixth place. As the standings shook out, Kansas City and Washington, they had clinched first and second place. So Kansas City will host Gotham in the quarterfinals. Orlando will host Seattle. Portland Thorns against San Diego, and then Washington Spirit against Racing Louisville. I mean, these are some mouthwatering matchups we have here, McCall. Which one are you keyed in on? You're excited to watch next week?
I mean, I'm going to call myself out right now. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the season if the Portland Thorns was going to finish in third, I would have said no way. But exactly to y'all's points that you just made is it's a long season, have to share the load. And that's exactly what the Portland Thorns have done. They have shared the load amongst each other all season long. Like you said, some players were hot at certain times carrying the team. Let's not forget about Kaya Hanks. She was wonderful for them before, her injury. And for me, that's what makes a difference in a team is you've got to share the load and work together. And then you look at teams like Gotham, who was leaning on Astaire. Astaire was carrying them for a long time. Astaire goes cold. Well, look at them now. Now they end up in eighth. And that's exactly the difference of, are you relying on one player or are you a team?
So when I look at these, the playoff bracket, Kansas City against Gotham, I think a lot of people could say, well, Kansas City is going to wipe the floor. They're going to run away with this as the Shield winners, and what they've done, they very well may. But Gotham being in eighth place, McCall, you know all too well what happens when Gotham, in the final day of the regular season, gets into eighth place. They can cause chaos. The last time they did it, it was 2023. They went on a run, end up winning the championship. You, McCall, end up winning the championship. And I don't think anyone is safe. So Kansas City Gotham, to me, is a matchup that I think Gotham's going to be disappointed in their performance today, falling to North Carolina, having a lot of rotation in the lineup that Juan Carlos Amoros rolled out with. And it is going to be a group that has a bit of fire underneath of them, that didn't play their best football today, that has 6 days to regroup, get back out there because they're still in it. They still have a chance. And it is almost this David and Goliath moment where Gotham can say, we are going to CPKC, to the Shield winner's house, and we're going to take them down. If I'm Kansas City, I'm absolutely terrified to play Gotham next week.
I mean, a handful of those players. I mean, here's a couple of things, though. A handful of those players on Gotham have familiar feelings of being number 8 and then going number 1, right? So that is one thing. And I do think that they have a very strong roster of players that peak at the right times and come alive when it matters on the world stage and the club stage. But this is just like we were saying earlier, that it matters where you finish and how you show as a club. Well, KC showed a little bit of their weaknesses or holes that you can get at them today, too. So those two combining things could make for more of an interesting matchup than anyone could imagine.
I'm just very curious. I'm just kind of curious how Gotham will bounce back from their decision day performance into the postseason. I know that's like, hey, forget about what you did. It's a new series in front of you. Who cares? But I mean, it matters a little bit how you go into the postseason, and I'm sure they're going to be hungry to have a response, and quite possibly hungrier to get it against the best team in the league this year. It is not going to be easy because despite Kansas City's kind of more glaringly obvious things along the way where it's like, yes, Gotham didn't have Esther, but you have to make those adjustments if you're Kansas City, if you don't have this prolific player in your MVP in Temwa Shawinga. And then now we're going to have to wait and see for Bia Sanarata because she came out of this decision day match with what's hopefully going to be a small knock. But Kansas City somehow, even on decision day, still finding ways to generate history of their own. They've been checking off all these boxes, and they said, here's another one. We can absolutely come from behind and win a game and do it without our star attacking players in Shoinga and Sanarato. So if anything, I'm like, does that somehow make them stronger? And I think if you're Gotham, if you're the coaching staff, you maybe try to have that quick memory. You put this game behind you. You definitely rally your defense back in shape and say, hey, part of this was on us. We planned this. We asked you to go out and execute. It didn't work out. Mm-hmm. This is what we're thinking of instead, because we saw some of that rotation and that disjointedness and like just didn't look good for Gotham against in decision day. And so going up against Courage, they got bit. They paid for it, and blame it on the weather, blame it on the rain all you want. They still, two teams were playing in those conditions, and one of them looked better throughout the duration of it. So I have to imagine, who's available will obviously come into play. And, if Emily Sonnet and Jess Carter have better games, then this is going to be a very difficult day for Kansas
That
City.
was uncharacteristic of Carter and Sonnet today. They don't usually play like that.
And so that's what I'm saying. This new game in the playoffs is going to be different.
It's a clean slate once you go to the postseason.
It is, but inconsistencies in your lineups can be a problem. And we saw that today with Gotham, and also inserting Bia and Temwa back into it possibly could be a wrinkle. And again, just not having that flow and, having those inconsistencies in your players that are available in your lineups, it's really difficult as a player when you're playing with different players around you in your unit. The best thing that you want going into the playoffs is momentum, gelling, and chemistry. That is the best thing that you want. And both teams are kind of in a similar position.
You could also throw Washington Spirit into that mix. They played Utah today in this decision day matchup. They end up losing 1-0 in this game. And it was slim pickings for Adrian Gonzalez at Washington Spirit. The team that he had was dealing with a lot coming after the international break. A lot of players unavailable, a lot of players dealing with injuries. I mean, the international window coming this past week before week 26 of 26 in the NWSL is absolutely not ideal. And Utah got the best of Washington today. I mean, the bench for the Spirit had 5 players on it. 2 of them were goalkeepers in this game. I mean, that is tough. That is a heartbreaker on the final day if you're Washington Spirit, now knowing that you have to go into the postseason and play a Racing Louisville team that is riding on everything that they just put into this decision day game.
I feel like at this point, with the way the women's schedule is shaping up with all the tournaments and international competition going on, all the club coaches are just praying that their players don't play much when they're away at their national teams. Honestly, I mean, that's the best thing that they can do, because they're just asking so much of these players now, and the demand is so difficult that their likelihood of fatiguing or picking up a knock or an injury from overuse is just greater than it ever was before.
But it's also the playoffs. It's like, let's go. Like you have 3
Rub
games.
some dirt on it.
Yeah, you have 3 games potentially. Yeah. And I think a lot of teams could say, like, okay, Kansas City might run away with this, but they also very well may not, because it is the playoffs and anything can happen. So the quarterfinals are set November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Kansas City, Gotham, Orlando, Seattle, Portland, San Diego, Washington, Louisville. Hit me with playoff match to watch, Sandra. I'm starting with you.
Spirit Louisville, baby. I mean, we're just talking about Spirit, and it's going to come down to who's available, who's ready to go, and honestly, who's ready to sacrifice and take some punishment. This might need to be a little bit of a different challenge for the Spirit, in that you're asking of your players to not only get a win and to not try to change their identity too much and do the things that work for them. But if you don't have the personnel to kind of plug in and execute, you will have to make some adjustments, and maybe some of that will be mentally, and that you're going to have to make that pass knowing that you're going to get knocked the hell out. And so some of it is gonna have to maybe come on the mental side of things. So we'll see what happens. I'm very much looking forward to number 2 versus number 7 in Racing Spirit, Louisville for me.
McCall?
I'm 1 versus 8 all day. Who doesn't want to enter upset city? I mean, I could be a little bit biased because my Gotham girlies, some baddies, but I mean, truthfully, especially, you know, what we've seen in the past and especially last season, winning the Shield and winning the championship from a club. So for us, it's like, is that on the horizon for Kansas City? Can they do that as well? Or is this, can you imagine them losing first round in the playoffs?
Oh, talk about upset city. That would be nuts.
Tough.
That would be nuts. Guys, Portland, San Diego, number 3 versus number 6. That is where my eyes go because which team is hitting their stride at the right point and the right moment. And San Diego has gone through some ups and downs recently. How are they going to fare in the postseason with a coach that doesn't know what American playoffs are like and a team that has faced some adversity this year? Who's going to step up? Can it be done by committee? And I think the same can be said for Portland. I think that the roster makeup of these two teams makes it a really intriguing matchup for the quarterfinals.
And nobody chose Orlando and Seattle.
No. But how about this? How many of those games are going to go all the way to penalties?
Oh,
I think more than we
would like. Yeah.
More than we like. I think
Really?
They are. I know, McCall. It's
Do you know what's so tough about that is in the first round, you're already putting so much extra work on your body and extra time, and then probably going to have to travel, right? And it's just like such a difficult way to start your playoff run.
Yeah. And even teams that know, like, okay, if we can just hold out a little bit longer, right? If you're racing Louisville and knowing that you have Jordan Bloomer in goal, who was like, loves a penalty, loves to stop a penalty.
A double stop penalty.
Double stop, like you're pushing for penalties. You're pushing to get through 120 minutes. There are a lot of good goalkeepers in this league. Makes for an even tastier playoffs and postseason. Okay, this is the best. We get to do our weekly best 11. Stick with us right here on A3. We'll be back with more.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax. Wanna Drive. It is time for Attacking Third's NWSL Weekly Best 11, our final one of the NWSL regular season. McCall has our forwards. I'm rocking with the midfield, and Sandra is bringing up the rear with defenders and goalkeepers. All right, McCall, hit us with your front line. You do have to give us 3 forwards in this.
I'm going to give you 3, but I mean, it's going to be very trim because I'm not going to fake this. I'm just going to give from the game that I watched.
Go off.
I'm an analyst, not a faker. Jordan Heidema for me, what she came on and what she did for Seattle, she just changed the picture. Her aerial presence, her hold-up play. And by the way, she had this one moment where she sprinted after the ball, and I was like, girl, when did you get fast? Like, she is actually quite quick. She can move. So I wish she would stretch the line a little bit more. She's always checking back to give her a hold-up play, but she shows that she can also run in behind, and I feel like if they would have done that more tonight, they would have had more chances against Orlando. But anyway, she was a standout, did great. Marta, for me, I mean, she had a big role tonight with Ali Watt going out and obviously always missing Bandit and stuff. And what I love that she did is she adapted her game to run in behind and run more centrally. And she had the first 2 major chances that Orlando got in the first half. Just always doing her thing. She finds a way. And then Carson Pickett, y'all, come on. She's been a defender her whole freaking career and then has just adapted to find a way to get herself in this lineup and get some time with this Orlando Pride side and is scoring goals for them in their most pivotal moments. I mean, pivotal Pickett. Let's go.
Yeah, I like that, McCall. I like your honesty as well, being like, guys, I couldn't watch these games. So McCall, I said I can't watch all these games because I'm calling one. I'm going to make this a group project. And I recruited some of our A3 friends, Jordan Angeli, Jen Beatty, and Jess McDonald, who are also calling games. And I said, hey, guys, drop me your weekly best 11 after your games today. Yeah. So shout out to them because I like that you were, McCall, you're like, I'm just taking this. We got to give a shout out to Davinia in that front line for Kansas City, right? Like, this is a player that had an insane set piece goal. She also had the assist on the second goal. I want to give a shout out in the front line to Ella Haas for Racing Louisville because the rookie had the game-winning goal, the lone goal for Louisville to send them into the postseason. And I think she should be on this list as well.
I'm going to second. I'm going to double down on Davinia. I think I said earlier in the show about like if there was some sort of award for like a one-half MVP like Monaco, like maybe that can also be a similar argument and or case for Davinia. Although even with her time away, she has come back and shown that she's pretty much MVP caliber for Kansas City. And I would say that we maybe got to try to figure something out in this lineup to get her in there, whether it's on the top line or in the midfielders. I'm not too sure. And the thing is, I'm also in agreement on Haas. I mean, big goal in such a big moment, a big game. I think she's got to be on there.
Okay, so McCall,
we'll give you taking out.
We'll give you this. Can we put in Davinia and Haas, and you keep one of the that you suggested?
Listen, this was my offer at the beginning.
This is a negotiation now. Team of the Week's a negotiation.
It's a group project, guys. It's a group project this week. We're all in this together.
Well, the answer is easy then, because Heidema is like, we need a number 9 in this formation, right? Like, Davinia will work off and run underneath. Like, let's go with Heidema.
I love that shout. That's a good one. So, coming in off the bench, changing things. So we're going Jordan Heitema, Davinia, and then the rookie Ella Haas for Racing Louisville. I like this, McCall. This is a group project. Okay, so that's our front line. Our midfield. Again, had some help from my friends doing this one. So any help from you people as well in the chat will help me. I think Jessie Fleming in the midfield had a tremendous game with Portland Thorns and her ability to contribute consistently. Claudia Zornoza for Utah Royals, who had her retirement game. Shout out Jen Beatty for giving me some info on this one. But she had some good plays, some good passes forward, and Utah, they end their season on a high with a win over number 2 Washington Spirit, and it's a shutout win nonetheless. And then I also had Davinia in my midfield list, but she technically played in the front line. Any suggestions for my third one? What about Manaka? Like, she had a pretty good game. She's also a forward. Like, what are we thinking here?
I just really think we got to get Manaka in this lineup.
I know.
We cannot have the final regular season team of the week, I think, without that player, especially with the performance that she had today and that incredible goal that she scored. I'm so sorry that you two were on calls, but like, it was in front of me and I was like, I literally did. I hit the hands to the head. I was like, that just.
Oh, no.
The one that she picked off the pass and then chipped it in?
I got to run the highlights, and I think I literally said in my highlight, like, ew, that is so nasty.
Yeah.
Like, it just came out. Like, that was so good.
All right, so Manaka in this mix.
Who are you taking out, Lise?
Well, Jessie Fleming and Claudia Zornoza. And then
Manaka. Okay, I thought you had a third. Then.
Only 2.
I like it.
Project energy.
I like it, and also I'm same energy for Fleming. Gotta have a Thorns player, and I think she's it. I think alongside Moultrie, when you're looking at a player that has had to really kind of utilize the length of the season to get into form and find their game for their team and their identity within the season that the Thorns have had, I think Jessie Fleming has really kind of taken advantage of the moments that have been presented to her and felt right that she got a goal tonight and in the list here.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Our defense, Sandra, are you good with our midfield?
I'm good with the midfield. I'm also here for a group project on the back line if anybody wants to participate. But I don't know. I also kind of like my back line, especially now that we've kind of hijacked each other's lines. I'm like, oh well, I'll just bring Pickett down here. Don't worry about it. Because Carson Pickett is 100% on my back. I came in for a bellow. Did her typical thing, bombing and booming forward, and of course, getting on the end of a goal. She has become sort of this X Factory player for Orlando Pride this year, who has found herself not only this game changer, but the goal scorer in certain moments. So I love that for Carson Pickett, absolutely on this back line. Of course, I'm putting Arin Wright in this one, and I had her in here, and credit to me, before we even had the interview with her on here, but that just makes me feel even more validated in this selection. I love seeing Arin Wright return to the postseason. She did it for years years and years and years and years with Chicago. And I love that is part of the narrative of this postseason. We are seeing veteran players achieving things with teams or new teams that maybe they didn't get to in their old clubs. So Vanessa DiBernardo winning Shields, Arin Wright making return to playoffs. Like, I'm here for the vets in the playoffs. So Arin Wright's on this back line. Going a little younger alongside, I had to give some love for Jordan Bugg. Got the goal. I'm very high on this player. I think she's going to be a player that we continue to talk about and put on these teams of the week moving forward. And I'm also putting Janine Sonis on here because I love everything racing has been doing. And I think a big part of them being so successful is Bev Yanez recognizing the moment, needing to make adjustments, saying, hey, you're capable. We need someone on this back line. It's got to be you. And she's been helping produce for this team week in, week out. And more Utah Royals love, because I think it was significant that they ended their season on a win. Mandy McGlynn getting the goalkeeper nod for me. Shout out against Good Spirit.
I was going to throw in Janine Sonis into this defensive group if you did not, because she had a tremendous game on both sides of the ball for Racing Louisville defensively. And then once she was in possession of it, moving forward, creating chances, sending crosses in, being a threat constantly down the left side of the field, and really grinding out a win for Racing Louisville. I have no arguments with our Pickett, Wright, Bugg, Sonis, McGlynn back five.
I love being correct. I think I love it.
I mean, I've got to hit a hijack too, because I'd be remiss if I didn't. Lou Barnes. Got to mention her. You know, obviously her last regular season match tonight. You know, so to honor her, but also she had a good game. Like, she did some really important things, putting her body on the line, making some last-ditch tackles and effort. She was important for the Seattle Reign tonight, and we just have to give her flowers for the career that she's had. And you know, when you think of the Seattle Reign, you think of Lou Barnes. So
yeah, I like that shout. Who would you take out?
Oh, no one.
Well, let's just take Pickett out, because she kind of played like a striker today. So,
but I love. Okay, so we're not taking anyone out, but I love the shout out. I think it's important. Honestly, like, and to your point,
what about
McCall,
captain of the week?
To your point, though, I was like, I could have almost had like McClernand at certain points during that game, like in this back line. Like, I thought Seattle defensively showing us who they were. They could have had more than one player on this back line for sure.
Yeah, I like it. But we're sticking with Carson Pickett, Arin Wright, Jordan Bugg, Sonis, and Mandy McGlynn.
I am.
Okay, great. Coach of the week, any objections to Bev Yanez? Absolutely not. I think when we look at the history that has been made in Louisville with Bev Yanez becoming the first player and coach to compete in the NWSL postseason is pretty historic. And even when we look at our weekly best 11, the fact that Ella Haas is in there, as is Janine Sonis. These are players. Ella Haas was a defender, a wingback in college before she came to Racing Louisville. And Bev Yanez said, you know what, I need you higher up the pitch. Your attacking presence is so important higher up the pitch. And Janine Sonis, who was an attacking player, Bev Yanez recognizes, nope, we can put you deeper and you will be more effective for us in that outside back role. And that is what is one of the many beautiful steps and tactical decisions that Bev Yanez so beautifully put together for Racing Louisville to make history for this group, taking down Bay FC and going to the postseason for the first time. So congrats, Bev Yanez, our coach of the week. What about captain of the week? Any nominees, Sandra, McCall?
I like when we get a little bit outside of the box with this one. And I gotta say, just like, honestly, the return of Decision Day, I don't think I realized that I missed it until it was gone and then came back. So I'm here for Decision Day if the league wants to keep it moving forward. So I would just say in general Decision Day, but I don't know if anyone else has any suggestions.
Decision Day is definitely the captain of the day, but we need to like be more prepared, like watch parties with like 12 screens and like bars need to like sponsor us, like something needs to go on, you know?
Yeah, I like the Decision Day shout. There are also a lot of players that retired and played their final game, final professional game ever tonight, or dressed in the kit. So shout out to all of them. There's a lot of them, and they have all changed the game and done so much. And I can't wait to see where you go next. I like this captaincy though. I like the decision day one, to be honest. We did the retirees last week.
We did it last week. I know. We're like all these retired players. No, I mean they're incredible, and I love that a lot of them got to play in a decision day again before they finished up. Love that.
Absolutely. NWSL DD 2025 lived up to the hype.
Yeah, McCall, how was it being on this side of it?
I mean, I'm a fan, bro. Like, I'm just like out here, like, so we had like this live tracker thing that we could use like while we were calling and announcing. And I was like, this is so much fun. I love being a fan of the league that I helped build and how exciting it is and all the good performances. And yeah, blessed beyond.
Blessed. We are all blessed because we get more NWSL action because the playoffs begin next week. We have huge matchups. It is a big group with Kansas City, Washington, Portland, Orlando, Seattle, San Diego, Louisville, and Gotham punching their ticket into the NWSL postseason. It all starts with the quarterfinals next week, leading up to the NWSL Championship on November 22nd in San Jose, California, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS in prime time. You can watch that game. Who will it be lifting that trophy at the end of it all? We'll find out. Decision day is done. Everyone go take a nap, get a drink, or have some tea. Do whatever you need, because we are back attacking third on Tuesday with the crew right here, 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube to talk all about it. Thanks, everyone, so much for hanging with us. If you're with us on YouTube or listening as a pod, watching on Golazo Network, thank you. For Phil, Courtney, Sandra, and McCall, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.